Hello and welcome to this CAD-link presentation of just some of the great features you will find in our award-winning software package SignLab. CAD-link have been making software for the sign and graphics display industry for more than 20 years, and during this time there have been much advancements to the hardware devices the industry uses. CAD-link have always offered a software solution to complement these advances. From the early days of the basic vinyl plotter right up to the current large format inkjet, thermal and UV printers, SignLab has enabled sign makers to get the most from their investments by offering a software package that is simple to use but at the same time offers an incredible level of functionality. As well as SignLab, CAD-link extend this expertise to additional software products within key related markets. Our digital factory package enables efficient and simplistic results within the wide format printing industry. Engraving and routing is another area where we have recognized success through our EngraveLab and Profile Lab products, which are capable of output to both rotary and laser engraving and milling devices. CAD-link is a world leader in these markets with a global user base supporting 20 languages. As a user of CAD-link products, you'll find it simple to tap into these crossover markets and increase the services your company can offer by using software products that share the same user interface and will save you time and the burden of learning new applications. Now, during this short presentation, I will be giving you an overview of some of the great design features of SignLab, and then we'll take a look at a few of the powerful production tools that make this package the choice of the professional sign maker. Finally, during this session, I'm going to explain the unmatched training and support facilities that we offer our customer base worldwide. Let's have a look over some of the user interface options. So you're now looking at the main SignLab UI, an area that is totally customizable to suit the way the individual wants to work. What do I mean by this? Well, let's take a look at the various palettes and toolbars. Here you can see them in their default location, but if you prefer a different look, why not just grab a toolbar and move it to a different part of the screen? If you find there is a set of tools that you don't often use, it's also simple to just turn the view of that toolbar off, giving you more desktop space. Inches or millimeters, well, whichever of the units you prefer to work in, toggling between them is simple. Just click anywhere on the ruler bars and make the switch. Here you can also disable the view of the ruler bars, giving more room. Want to turn them back on? Then this can be done with a keyboard shortcut, the Alt key and R key together, or by selecting the option from the view menu. Many of the most commonly used tools in SignLab can be accessed through shortcuts, and this is another area that is totally customizable to your own preference. Here I am simply adding shortcuts for the tools and functions I most commonly use. These will remain on display and save me valuable time when designing and outputting my signage. One of the most intuitive parts of the SignLab user interface is the smart bar, and that's this area that runs through the top of my screen. The simple part for the user is that whatever function or toolset I call upon in SignLab, the smart bar will automatically change to include options relevant to the task I'm carrying out. So, for example, if I want to type some text, I go to the text compose tools here on the left, and as soon as I drop the text tool on screen, the smart bar changes. It now has all of the text options right there in front of me, not buried away in sub-menus. You will find this level of functionality continues as we use the various different tool sets during this session. SignLab has many user settings for you to explore and change and really make this package feel like your own. If you'd like to know more about the SignLab UI, then talk to your dealer. They'll be happy to give you a full demonstration and show you the full potential of this customizable work area. Right, so let's get started now and look at some of the design tools in SignLab. On screen, I have started to create a sign that will become the main shop front to a new coffee house. Now, if I just marquee select these items, you'll see the smart bar will display the dimensions and position of these objects. This is a pretty simple design. I have a couple of photographic images for my background, and I'm now going to add some text. I'm going to grab the text tools here on the left and place them on screen. You can now see the smart bar has changed and contains the tools I need, and I can now go ahead and type the name of the new business. Now we're calling this one Cafe Uno. Now incidentally, to get the little accent on the top of the letter E here, I'm simply going to use the appropriate keystroke from the Windows character map. Okay, so if I click away from my text, I exit the text edit mode. To get back in, I simply double click on the text again. Once again, those tools appear in the smart bar at the top of the screen. If I now highlight my text, which I can do by clicking the mouse button and dragging over the letters, I can go ahead and start making changes. All of the features you would expect are here. We can make the lettering larger or smaller, add a slant, increase the kerning, and we can always see the changes occurring on the screen as we make them. This simple workflow also applies to making a change to the font style as well. If I drop down my list of fonts, I can see what my selected text will look like in any other of my typefaces. SignLab is supplied with more than 1100 fonts, and in addition to this you can use many other third-party font groups with the program. Adobe Type 1, Coral WFN, Windows TrueType fonts, these can all be used in SignLab. Now, having hundreds of fonts is great, but not being able to organize and manage them is not so great. That's why SignLab has a simple and intuitive system to help you manage your fonts and get the most from them regardless of how many you have. I'm going to click this symbol here, which will launch the Font Detective. Now, this toolset lets me filter out particular groups of fonts as well as create my own custom groups. Let's say, for example, that I want a folder that only contains Windows TrueType fonts. I simply make sure I have that choice selected here in this category list and then hit the Filter tab. SignLab will now create a list that only contains TrueTypes. It's then real simple to create a new font group that contains my current filter selection, and this group can then be added to all the others for future use. This kind of control will save you valuable time every day. As an example, let's say that a customer asks for a particular font to be used, and they know it's a TrueType font because it's on their Windows system. So rather than look through your entire font collection, you can simply search your newly created TrueType group, and this will instantly narrow down your search and save you time. You can create as many of these groups as you would like and add them to your fonts list. Another trick that can save time and confusion is to create font groups for specific customers. Now, let's say you do a large amount of repeat business for a company. Why not add a group to your fonts list that contains only the fonts this client wants used on their signage? So how would you do this? Well, simply go to the options and select Add Group. Then you need to name that group. So let's say the company is called Payless Stores. Okay, there we go. Okay, with a group created and named, I can then return at any point and edit this group and add fonts that this customer uses. I can simply scroll through my entire list to find specific typefaces for this customer and then click Add. When I'm done adding to the group, I click OK and hit Select to add the group to my main fonts list. Now, not only will this make finding the fonts I need much quicker, it also dramatically narrows down the risk of an incorrect typeface being used, regardless of which member of staff is designing the signage, because they will always have the option to refer to a font group containing only the fonts that this company uses, and not the entire list. So let's jump back to the sign we're designing. I actually know the font I'm going to use here, and it's called Cupric Bold. Another way to get a specific font quickly is to type the first couple of characters of its name. So in this case of Cupric, I would simply type CU, and I'm immediately taken down to the Cupric group of fonts. That's a nice little feature of SignLab that we've had in place for about 8 years now, but it's one I use day in, day out. Okay, so I'm now going to double click here to change my lettering to this style. Now, the color of this text can be changed by selecting any color from my shop palette, but to make this sign a bit more interesting, I'm going to add a gradient fill. I can actually choose between 6 gradient fill types, and for this design, I'm going to go with a linear style fill. Now, notice how, as before, the smart bar automatically changes to include the tools I need for applying a gradient. Many options here enable a wide range of different effects. The main thing you will want to change here is the colors of the gradient. Not only can I select any of them from my palette, but I can also just drag colors from my main shop palette and drop them on either end of the gradient. Want to introduce more colors? Simple, just drag and drop as many additional colors as you like onto the gradient at any place. Now, I can add specific values to these properties boxes in the smart bar, but how about a bit of free flow design? I'm just going to pick these handles up on screen and watch my design take shape. When I'm happy with the design, I can simply click to a blank part of the screen to exit. Okay, so my design is starting to take shape now. To finish it off, how about a simple drop shadow? These can be found in the transform menu. So with all the options now in the smart bar, it's simple to work through and get a design that feels right. How about a change of color? Or a relief outline? Once again, these on-screen handles give me full visual control over the design. Okay, so my design is pretty much complete, but let's say you want to see what a different typeface would look like. Do we have to undo and do this all over again? No, the text has remained as text here, so it's no problem. I can still double click and instantly change the font with the text edit tools. When I click away, instantly the attributes that I added, the gradient and the shadow, are automatically updated around the new chosen font. This is all part of the instant replay toolset within SignLab. Now take a look at what else it can do to save you heaps of time when designing. Now, as I said, I'm pretty happy with this design, but what if the customer needs a whole range of signage creating for their business? How about a menu sign or an open hours sign? Well, I have the general layouts here, but I need the title text to match that of the main shop sign to create a recognizable corporate image that flows throughout all the signage and advertising used within this business. Now, if I had time to waste, I could try and replicate the same gradient fill and the same shadow as I have applied to the original sign, but as I'm using SignLab, this isn't necessary. I can use the instant replay toolset to apply the same attributes across all the signage I create for the customer. Let me show you what I mean by this. By selecting the text on my original sign, I can see in the instant replay window a list of attributes that I applied. So here you'll see the drop shadow and the gradient fill. Now all I need to do is drag these attributes to my storage bin. So now to the additional signage that we've created today. How do we apply these effects to that? Simple, I just select those attributes and drag them onto my new text. When I release, instantly the same gradient and the same drop shadow are applied, and this can be repeated over and over. Instant replay provides a simple, user-friendly way to save time and maintain absolute consistency across my signage. So my two additional signs have the same features, but what if your customer rings you up in a year or so and says, hey, you know the signage you created for me? Well, I've expanded my services. Now I need another sign for my business. How are you going to get the same features on the new signage, the same gradient, the same shadow? You done that job over a year ago. Well, it's pretty simple because SignLab lets you save these attributes for further use. This means I can reload these features into my storage bin at any point in the future and instantly match the original signage I created for this client. So I know they're going to have the same drop shadow and the same gradient fill. Okay, so we have already seen how simple the text creation and editing tools are in SignLab. And to finish here, I'd like to show you one other tool, and that's on-screen kerning. Now this is accessed by pressing the control key before you double click on the text. Now on-screen kerning allows a huge amount of control over the positioning of the letters and the words. In this sign we have a simple price board. With some software, the creation of this kind of layout can be time consuming and problematic, but here you will see it's quick and easy. Now I have my menu items and their prices already typed out. However, I need to line them up in columns. So first I'm going to define these columns with a few guides. Now guides can be placed on screen by right clicking on any part of the ruler bars around the SignLab screen, and then once they're on screen they can be moved just by dragging them with the mouse. They can then be set to any position. On-screen kerning provides me with a control nub for each character, even decimal points, so it's now easy to start moving the prices across and placing them in neat columns. These nubs even snap to the guides, so getting them in the right place is made even easier. Now take a look at this decimal. I'm happy with its position and want to bring all the other points in line with it. If I press the control key and right mouse click on that point, I can place a guide directly through its location. Now all the other points can be brought in line. I can summon as many guides as I like to make this task unproblematic and easy to do. When I'm done, I can simply hit the shortcut to remove all guides, and the job is done. On-screen kerning is also a really quick and easy way to evenly space lines of text over a given distance. Simply by using the Shift key when I move one line of text, the others automatically space evenly when I release the mouse button. We can do the same on this opening hours sign. Simply move one line to the desired base point, and when I release, the rest of the work gets done for me. So there you go, a couple of simple ways to save time when designing in SignLab. A whole host of shapes can be created on screen in SignLab. A rectangle, or two, or even an ellipse. Now aligning these objects is straightforward. Ctrl+K is a handy shortcut for this. So we've aligned these three objects, but what about making them one? If I turn the fill off using the keyboard shortcut Alt and S, you can see how easy this is. With my objects selected, I just weld them and I have one object that I can now use as a sign blank. And then what about making that sign blank more interesting? To do this one, I'm going to be using pattern fill. There are many pattern fill libraries included with SignLab, and it's also possible to create your own from any objects, like say for instance a company logo or symbol. In this example, I'm going to select a fill from the Wood and Wonders category. Now as before, the tools I need for controlling this effect are right there for me in the smart bar. Okay, with these handles I can control the size, the distance of the pattern within the object. That should work just fine, so I'm going to click OK. Now it's true to say that SignLab is a vector-based editing program. However, what I'd like to show you over now are a couple of the great bitmap editing and effects tools we have in this software. To start with, let's talk about plugins. Now you would expect a design package to be able to work with plugins, wouldn't you? Well, SignLab not only works with plugins in a way that pretty much any other software cannot, but you also get 10 of them absolutely free with every copy of Print and Cut. So what you see me do now can be done with the off-the-shelf package. I'm not going to ask you to spend a whole lot more money to be able to do this. It's included from the start. So how about adding a nice bevel effect to our sign blank? With it selected, I can just launch the eye candy Bevel Boss tool from the image menu. Now take a note of this option here, inside clip. I'll explain a bit more about this in a minute. Okay, here I'm just going to adjust these property sliders to get the kind of effect I'm after. Okay, that should do fine. And what about a little tweak for the lighting direction? Okay, that should work well. Okay, and we're done. Okay, so back in SignLab, our bevel has been applied, and I'm sure you'll agree it looks really great. Now remember the inside clipped option. Well, that ensures that despite the fact we just applied a bitmap transformation, our object still has a crisp, clean, vectored edge, no matter how big that sign gets produced. Look as I draw a black rectangle behind the image. Okay, no pixelated edges and no annoying white box. The same effect applied in any other sign making package, and in fact most design packages on the market today would not look like this. SignLab has the ability to apply these effects directly to vectored objects without the need to convert them to bitmaps first, and it makes the whole process of using plugins easier and a lot quicker to achieve. As you'll see from the screen, I have jumped forward a couple of stages here with this design. I have added some text and a pattern from SignLab's built-in clip art library. The next step is to import a photo to be used with the design. So I'm going to go ahead and select the import command from the file menu. SignLab has support for many third-party file types, including Photoshop, PSD, Adobe PDF, JPEG, and this provides a huge range of flexibility when receiving files from other sources. Okay, so with the picture on screen, I can resize it, and then I'm going to place an outline around it. Again, another tool where the controls are automatically there for me in the smart bar. I can control this numerically or with the on-screen tabs. Okay, that looks good. I can now place the image on my sign blank. Now, if you run a full color machine, then using photos and full color images is going to be common to your designs. So why not use some of the bitmap editing tools in SignLab to make them more interesting? Take this photo as an example. Looks pretty good, but not entirely fitting to the type of sign I've created here. I'm going to add a nice little filter effect to this called Oilify, and it's a way to get any picture to resemble an oil painting. The The great part is that it's so simple to play around with. So from the image menu, I achieve access to several filters that work in the same simple way. Whatever effect you're applying, you can see the degree of change in progress on screen in this preview area. Okay, that looks pretty good, so I'm going to apply. And we're back to the main screen and the effect is done. Very simple and very quick using our built-in filters. To finish off here, I'd like to show you another feature of our text tools. For the remaining area of this sign, I have to fit in a sentence of words. I'm going to achieve this using SignLab's text compression tools. When I grab the text tools here on the left, I'm going to draw a marquee box in the area I want to fill with text. I can then begin to type my sentence. Now the clever part here is that my text will always be constrained within this area, so I can continue typing and typing until the sentence is complete. The properties of this compression area can be adjusted in many ways to suit the type of design you're working on, and it makes fitting in text in tight areas very simple to achieve. Okay, so that's this design finished and ready to output. Take a look at the images that I've got on screen, a couple of photos, some basic vectored text. I'm going to show you how simple it is to take basic elements like this and put them together in a sign with real impact, something that will stand out but won't take you all day to create. I've already set my sign blank to the size of the substrate the finished sign will be applied to, so I can start moving these objects into place. First, I'm going to use this picture to create a nice fast moving background. So as I move it onto the blank and size it up, it will automatically snap into position to the edges of my sign blank. Remember the bitmap filters from the previous example? Well, I'm going to use another one of those now, and this time it's our motion blur effect. Okay, with this slider I'm just going to set the effect to about 50% blur, and that should be fine. Okay, now I can grab the other car image and move it onto the sign blank. Incidentally, with images, you know how sometimes you have an image that's just not quite good enough for large format production? Try a little resampling magic. In SignLab, our bicubic resampling tool can transform images to give a far better result when produced larger. Okay, back to our sign. Okay, you'll see at once this image has a white background to it, and this needs to go. I can achieve this in several ways in SignLab, and all of them are pretty straightforward. But for this example, I will use Contour Object. This tool will seek out the boundaries of the white background and then remove the unwanted area from the image. It's that simple. Okay, next I'm going to add a bit of eye candy magic, again with filters that are included free with print and cut. Using vectored shapes as masks, it's possible to achieve some really cool results. Here I'm using a couple of ellipses as my masks. Okay, so I'm just going to place one here, and then we'll pop another one over the other headlight on this side. Okay, now from the eye candy list, I'm going to choose the gradient glow effect. In this first window, I need to select a source to embed the effect into, and then a path, which in this case will be the two circles that I just created. Okay, now onto the main eye candy interface. You can get the idea of what I'm trying to achieve here. We can give the effect of bright headlights, and what's more, we can control how bright they are. These are just straightforward effects that anyone can achieve with this program. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this, so I'm going to click on OK and return to my main SignLab screen. So let's start finishing up now by moving the text over. Bit boring, isn't it? Again, I can change this with eye candy. Remember, direct to vectored objects and neat clipping paths will be applied here. A nice bevel transformation is going to make this sign look so much better. Okay, I can move the text nicely over the background, and you can see there's no white box around it. We can still see our background clearly through the spaces in the text. To finish the sign completely, how about a nice soft shadow effect? Again, this is another eye candy effect that's built into SignLab, and it's simple to achieve. As with the other effects, I have full visual control over the style, size, and even the opacity of this shadow. When I'm happy, one click will apply and return me to my finished design. This sign was easy to put together. There was no complex editing to deal with, just some clear, straightforward, effective steps that have resulted in a sign that will get noticed. SignLab has some great tools we have seen already, but the true value in SignLab is its ease of use, offering logical workflows that you will remember if you use them once a day or once a month. Now let's take a look at another example of the powerful and simple to use filters that can be found in this package. Okay, another image of a fine sports car. This time we're going to make a sticker, a decal for the Performance Car Company. Okay, so this is a hot looking car, but the setting is pretty dull. First I'm going to create a mask that highlights the area I am going to apply my filter effect to. Now I've used SignLab's powerful node editing tools to create a path around the outside of the car. I also have a rectangle the size of the overall image. So what I want to do now is punch out the shape of the car through the rectangle, and this is very simple to do in SignLab using the basic weld tool. SignLab has a neat feature that means any object coloured pure white will be discarded when welded, and that's what I need to achieve here. So with one click I can create this new mask for the background of the image. We can now see the car through the mask but not the background. What this means is I can apply any of the bitmap filters to the image, but they will not affect the car itself because it isn't masked. So remember the motion blur tool we used earlier? Well, we're going to use that here, but this time the blur will only affect those areas where the mask sits. Okay, so we can adjust the degree of blur as before, and for this particular image I also need to add an angle to get a more pleasing result. Clicking OK will apply this effect, and all that's left to do is delete the mask. And that's it, all done. SignLab offers these fantastic results without the huge learning curve and complex stages you would expect. How about a little colour change then? Yellow is my favourite colour, but is it yours? You can achieve endless results by playing around with SignLab's easy to use colour editing tools. Just tweaking the hue setting here will instantly change the colour of the vehicle. This is a really effective way of providing your customer with several versions of a particular design without the need to spend hours creating them. It's also possible to use vectored paths to clip bitmaps and remove unwanted areas. So here we have the same image of the car and the original path that I created using SignLab's node editing tools. Look how easy it is to eliminate the background. I'm going to select both objects, go to the Arrange menu and select Clipping. The background has now been discarded, leaving only the vehicle on show. Having user-friendly, effective design tools is all well and good, but it's important to have an equally effective set of production tools to complement them. CADlink have always prided themselves on the creation of a package that offers a complete solution that encompasses both design and production tool sets. Okay, so let's take a look at SignLab's contour cut tools. Contour cutting is very simple to use. If I have a piece of regular text that needs a contour path, it's pretty easy to apply. Even if I now change this text, my contour path will automatically update itself, saving me the hassle. And if I have some text and shapes together that require a contour path, again I can edit those shapes and text and know that my contour path will automatically update afterwards. Applying a contour path to bitmaps or even a combination of bitmaps and vectors is just as simple. Features such as the offset and corner style are simple to control, and as you would expect, this could now be sent for production either to a print and cut device or a separate printer and cutter. It's simple to create eye-catching designs in SignLab, but what about letting your customers see your efforts? Well, we have a range of options that allow you to present your artwork in the best possible way. Printing your visuals to a desktop device, SignLab has a built-in template tool that lets you create professional looking proofs, and to this we can also add dimensions and notes. Here is a sign from earlier. I can simply add the width and the height. Okay, that's good. And what about adding some notes to let the customers know specifics like colours and the materials to be used? You can see the visual already looks far more professional, and to finish it off I'm going to place it in a pre-designed template. As I open this template file, I am prompted for the details specific to this job, like the customer's name, the person who designed the sign, and so on. With the template open, it's simply a case of placing the artwork on it and it's ready for printing to a desktop device. These templates are totally customizable within SignLab. I'm sure you will agree these tools really complement the designs by presenting them so well. Emailing your artwork is just as simple. Not only can you export your artwork into many other file types such as PDF, EPS and JPEG, but you can also send proofs directly from SignLab. So if I select my work and then go to the web menu at the top here and select send image by email, SignLab will present me with a couple of options before automatically opening my default email client with my artwork attached. You then only need to add your customer's email details and your artwork is on its way. When it comes to outputting your jobs from SignLab, either for cut, print or print and cut, you will find a wealth of tools to make life simple. To start with, let's take a look at cutting. Now have a look at this example on the screen. Here is a sign that will need to be cut from 3 different coloured vinyls, blue, red and black. We're going to apply it to a white substrate. Now SignLab's cut by colour function means I don't have to separate these 3 parts out before cutting, which is obviously going to save me time. I can simply select the lot and hit the cut button here, and SignLab will then ask me what colour I want to cut first. So if I've got blue vinyl in my device and it's ready to go, I'll select blue, and then SignLab will only pick out those objects with that colour and prepare them ready for cutting. Another neat feature that we can do, which will save us lots of time, is using power weed. Now take a look at the text part of this sign. Weeding large areas of text or detailed designs can be tricky, but with power weed it's simple to add lines that will break this task into manageable sections. What's more, these weed lines can be placed at any position because the power weed function will never allow lines to cut through existing objects or path. Have a look here as I zoom in here on this letter and press Alt S to turn the fill off. You can see my power weed line automatically stops either side of the character. Many options within the cut toolbox will save you time and effort when you output cut jobs. Tools like sort dialog that will prevent unnecessary cutter movement, and this ensures that your jobs are cut in the shortest time frame possible. When it comes to devices, SignLab has drivers for practically every plotter, both old and new. Vinyl cutting is where it all started for us, so whether you run an original Cam 1 or one of the latest cutters from a range of manufacturers, we have it covered. So as well as vinyl cutting, many sign shops now have a digital printer. SignLab Print and Cut will enable you to output your full colour work to hundreds of digital devices. Inkjet, thermal and even UV printers can be driven by SignLab. Users of thermal devices such as the Gerber Edge and Suma DC series can take full advantage of our thermal module, a product that not only allows you to run these bespoke devices, but also offers a wealth of tools that will enable you to maximize your return. Now, one example of this is our built-in see-through sign wizard. I'm sure many of you may have seen window graphics with perforations in that allow light to pass through the vinyl. This type of material is largely developed under license from a company called Contravision. Now CADlink have a unique partnership with Contravision that enables our users to reproduce the effects created by perforated media, but by applying graphics to clear vinyl, leaving no print where you want light to pass through. Our built-in wizard takes you through the creation of these versatile graphics and enables the user to build stunning effects. The clear spaces can be any shape or size, and it's even possible to create double-sided signage in the same way. This technology is also extended in our white module, a tool set that we designed specifically for users with a device that can print white. So let's take a look at sending a straightforward print job. What's important here? Well, having a wide range of printer profiles for one. SignLab has many print modes covering a wide range of media manufacturers and devices. You can see here how they are laid out in a simple hierarchy, making it easy to choose a brand and then a type and then a print quality. Now the easy part for the user is that these settings can be made within SignLab, and that's because SignLab Print and Cut includes a dedicated built-in RIP for outputting those jobs to large format printers. All the settings I apply here, including any color management policies, will be carried over to the printing stage without the need to introduce another software package to finish the job. So with this job selected, I can go to the File menu and select Print and Cut. I then only need to select Print from the toolbox, and the job is sent onto our RIP, and here it's ready for output. Here I can still change many of the other properties, including the print mode, and I can also get a visual perspective of my image as well as details of the job, like for instance what the file size is, what port it's going to be printed through, what device it's going to be printed to. All of these details are right there for me to see and check on before I commit to sending this job to my device. It's very common for sign makers to want to print and cut. This is just as simple in SignLab, whether you want to output to a composite device that can print and cut in one, or a system that uses a separate printer and cutter. Let's take a look back at the decal we created earlier. Here we have a graphic that needs to be printed, and then it has a contour line around it, so obviously it needs to be cut. So for this example, let's say you're going to produce it on a system that uses a separate printer and cutter. In my print and cut setup, I would need only select the vinyl cutter to be used, and then SignLab will present me with a list that only contains reg marks that are applicable to that cutting device. So here I need only select type 1, which is the reg mark that the Mamaki uses. Now I can send the job to be printed on the Mamaki JV3 printer, and it will print reg marks that the Mamaki cutter recognizes. Now, as you can see, this is a decal, so it's likely you will want to produce multiple copies. In SignLab, we can do this using decal mode, a system that lets you produce more than one copy, but at the same time keeps file size low. It does this by only spooling the first copy and then reusing the data over and over for each additional graphic that it prints. This means the time it takes to prepare the job for print is dramatically reduced. With the job waiting to print and cut, I only need right-click and send the job to print. The cut data will then be held in the queue until we are ready to use it. Once the job has been printed on my JV3 and then loaded into the cutter, we could then send the cut data from here. Now, some Mamaki devices have the ability to produce complete decals where a second cut line is applied that penetrates both vinyl and backing to create a contoured sticker. The properties of this feature can be controlled directly from SignLab using our built-in half-cut system. But what's more, using SignLab, it's possible to create decals in the same way using most modern devices. This kind of production flexibility can only be found in SignLab and its tools just like this that make this award-winning software the choice of the professional sign maker. With the need for specialized software products comes a need for specialized support. CADlink have an extensive support network made up of several parts. As well as professional help desks, CADlink has a dedicated online forum that allows our users to talk to each other and share tips, tricks and ideas. Our forums also act as an invaluable resource center with key answers to our most common inquiries. Having the right software is only half the package. Understanding its worth and just what it can do for you is essential to getting the most from your investment. That's why CADlink developed InfoSource, our online training area that's packed with useful tutorials that you can watch or download at any time from anywhere in the world. What's more, this area is updated on a monthly basis. So thanks for watching this overview of SignLab and just some of the great features it can offer your business. To get the full picture on this and our other industry leading programs, contact CADlink for more details.